It is another edition of the On the Mic podcast, and never have I ever been threatened right before an interview, and trying to change up my wardrobe immediately. But that's what happens when you talk to the undefeated, top 5 ranked heavyweight Steve Mowry. Steve, how are you?
I'm good. I'm gonna make you take that hat off and at least put on a Blackhawks hat or a good team's hat.
Yeah, I don't have any of those. And you said Steelers. I mean, listen, take care of my guy Mitch, will you?
Oh, we're trying. He's down here in South Florida with me. I'm taking best care of my kid.
I love it. I love it. Well, Steve, this is the first time that we get an opportunity to chat here on this show. And obviously you have a test ahead of you coming up here at Bellator 284. But first and foremost, getting an opportunity to finally talk to you. Just what has this ride been like for you? I know there's an O in your record and continued success always brings out the best in everyone. But how has it been so far, your career up until this point?
Well, I mean, just because there's a no at the end doesn't mean I haven't had my fair share of up and downs. I had some injuries, had some opportunities kind of pop up and then not work out. But all that said, no, it's been amazing, man. I'm living my dream. I set out to do, this basically what I'm doing right now. About 10 years ago, I told myself, this is what I'm going to do, for a living and as a career. And it's just like, it's this immense, immaculate blessing that, here I am now, some 10, 11 years later, and I'm doing it,
So obviously most times when I host this podcast, I don't talk to undefeated fighters all that often. It might shock you. It might shock. There's not many undefeated fighters in the world, especially with the resume of yours. When you obviously acknowledge ups and downs, what does keep you going and what makes you feel like, hey, I know you don't have the belt. The belt's an easy answer, but personally every day when you wake up and everyone's like, dude, you're undefeated. Like, how hard could this be? What does get you up every single day to go to the gym, to train, to prepare for fights?
Well, it's the challenge of it, honestly. I love, even before the success that I've had, so far, there was a time when I was just another dude who showed up to practice, and whenever I first found it and I was madly in love with it, I, still had days where I was coming home, pulling my hair out, getting my ass kicked. And then you have ups and downs that people don't know about. You have not just things in your career, but your personal life, or the guys you beat up 2 weeks ago, they came back in the gym and they handed it to me this week. And it's, it's just so special to be a part of an environment where we're always an opportunity to get better, always an opportunity to improve and prove yourself. And then obviously, to have an audience of people who tune in and watch every time is just incredible.
And with that, obviously you're fighting at Bellator 284. You'll be taking on Valentin Moldavsky. I'll talk to you about him in a second, but just where your home is right now. It's not often that a promotion can get a guy like Steve Mowry and he continues to rise with them. And I mean, it doesn't take a fool to realize what's standing in front of you in this opportunity. It's not just Moldavsky. There's an opportunity for you in this heavyweight division to clear out your next opponent and really set where you should be, with a title fight opportunity next in front of you, if everything goes according to plan. But just what has it meant to you in this stage in your career to be with Bellator?
I'm really, really grateful that Bellator has stuck with me thus far. Obviously they took a chance on me whenever I was 4-0 and they signed me. And I'm just really grateful that they stuck it out with me, that they were willing to make an investment in me whenever, there was probably 24 other guys that they could have just as easily picked up and signed. And, to be where I'm at in my career and in my life, a big part of that is because the Bellator team believed in me.
Now, obviously you're taking on Valentin Moldavsky, August 12th, Bellator 284. I've kind of already mentioned it, but for you, Steve, where do you see this fight landing you if all goes according to plan and how you expect it to?
Yeah, Valentin Moldavsky is a very good fighter. Well-rounded skill set. He's competent everywhere. He tends to be a little bit, grappling and wrestling heavy, as the combat sambo guys are. But that said, I just feel like he's going to have to adjust to me. I feel like I'm going to be the aggressor. I'm going to be pushing the pace, and that said, I'm planning on putting on a very special, dominant, violent performance on August 12th.
And I know it might be a foolish question to ask you, like to look back, behind you, I know the rankings don't matter to a lot of people, but this heavyweight division is kind of like up for grabs and you're right there. Moldavsky, same thing, but a lot of older names at the top, younger guys like yourself, no pun intended, fighting to kind of cement your place in the division. What do you make of the heavyweight division as a whole and kind of the top 10 of the division?
Yeah, the heavyweight division is definitely the most malleable. It has been for a long time. You'll have a guy who seemed like he was untouchable. A year and a half might go by, he might not be the same guy anymore. And but that said, the interesting thing about heavyweight is pretty much what you said. It's the most durable guys are the ones that end up doing the best. The guys who, they might not have had the greatest career, or they started off kind of like quiet, or they started off as like under the radar, but then they turn 33, 34, and all of a sudden they're top 10 in the world. Or occasionally you'll see a guy who's always been the peripheral, from the top 5 his whole career, and he just found a way to stuck it out, found a way to add new tools, add new skills, and stay healthy, stay in the game long enough to be a dominant force for as long as they have. And it's it's just a thing where it's cool to be part of it, but it's also a thing where I feel the drive to be part of that, to be part of that pantheon of great dudes who are around for a long time that were asserting their dominance forever.
I should apologize, Steve. I shouldn't assume that you already know everything that's going to happen right after, and that's exactly what you want. So let me ask you straight up, if all goes according to plan, what is it that you would like next following Bellator 284?
I'll be honest with you, I'm just so focused on Moldavsky that the rest is kind of irrelevant, to be honest with you. It's so far in the future that I haven't even begun to think about it. So I'm really thinking about doing something special against Valentin Moldavsky, and then letting the chips fall after that.
I know that excites me. I'm sure that it excites fans, viewers, and obviously it should excite Bellator. You got your 2 top 5 guys vying for a spot, and you're promising something special. This first fight of 2022 for you, I know the last one didn't go as scheduled, but how are you feeling coming into this one? I'm not asking weight cut and how is training camp or anything like that, but it has been some time since you have competed. Is this one of your longest layoffs? How do you feel coming into this one?
Since I turned pro, I had a few long layoffs, and I don't really have anybody to blame. It's just like one of those things. Sometimes they happen, This has probably been one of my longer ones, but that said, it's nobody's fault. It's just this time was an injury. A couple times before was an injury. Time before that, it was poor scheduling. You know how it goes, man. It's just that's the curl of the burl sometime. But that said, I have something booked now, and I have a big opportunity, and I'm looking forward to making the most of it.
Now, I've never talked to a fighter who's been this relaxed. I mean, in a hammock, swinging back and forth, huge fight on the horizon, just a couple weeks away. What's it like? We could joke about football all day long, and I love talking to fighters who have outside interests, and that guys are just like, I wake up, I eat, I train, and I come home. But what's it like being down there in South Florida and getting the work in that you are with your team?
Yeah, I mean, my team's freaking fantastic, dude. I mean, awesome group of guys, awesome coaches, awesome people on the administrative side. I got in obviously whenever the Black Zillions had kind of started to disintegrate. We were able to hold on to a core group of guys that maintained the same spirit, had the same drive, had the same goals. We're able to pick up the pieces. Then obviously we added a lot of interesting components along the way. And, to be where we're at now is it's been so special to be a part of, to learn and grow with the guys at Kill Cliff FC.
Yeah, I mean, an incredible group you guys have down there. And I'm just curious, is there ever a time when like you're in training and obviously everything has gone perfect so far in your career that you just kind of reassess everything and you're like, this is where I'm at. This is where I need to be. This is where I want to be. And this is where I expect to be 2 years from now?
Yeah, constantly. It's so cool to like be in an environment like this where, you look around and you see guys who, and I'm in a point in my career now where I'm not like a seasoned vet like some dudes, but like I can look up and see guys that have been there, done that, but then I can kind of, look beside me and see other guys who are, hungry. They're just starting to tap into their potential, but I'm also, just now starting to see guys who are just getting started. You know, they're hungry, they're mean, they're willing to fight for it, they're willing to come up and grab whatever spot they can take. And, you know, it's really special. I helped Tyrone Spong get ready for his last MMA fight, which was something really special. But then I have a couple guys in the pipeline, young, up-and-coming dudes who are, you know, they're ready for their shot on the big show. And it's, you know, it's just so special to be a part of this.
Yeah, I absolutely love your team and your teammate down there, Killcliff, Jared Gordon. I know he's got a fight scheduled, getting called out by Patty Bimblett. It's just always having your team, your teammates' names in people's mouths, and everyone staying busy, everyone staying active. I feel it's got to keep the gym popping at all times, 24/7.
Yeah, and you know, not just on the technical side or the skill side. Well, you know, also you mentioned Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon is just one of, you know, countless dudes on the roster that, you know, is responsible for adding, you know, just a really positive vibe, a really, really healthy environment. I mean, I feel remiss if I tried to mention one of them. I would mention all of them, but Jared Gordon, like I said, is just awesome dude, really good for the team, really good guy, really good mentor to the younger guys, really good friend to the dudes who are, you know, closer to his level. But no, like I said, if I mentioned Jared, I should mention all of them, but that could probably be here all day.
Yeah, right. No. Obviously, anyone, if you know the Killcliff FC team, you know how great they are, from yourself, everyone, top to bottom, coaches included. You guys have an amazing team down there. For you, what you talked about, you know, the challenges every day, and that's what gets you up for it. What is it specifically where you're at that is the challenge for you? Is it the new opponent each time? Is it getting the belt? Is it sustaining the belt if you do get it? Like, where are you at, and what is the biggest challenge in front of you right now?
I really I try to keep it as simple and as focused and in the locus of my control as possible. And I really feel like for me, obviously it's, you know, having a new opponent is always what makes the game interesting, but I feel like what makes it so much of a challenge for me is, you know, always trying to find something new that I'm incorporating, always trying to have fun, always trying to, you know, build my skill set in such a way that I'm even better than I was the fight before. That's what you know, gets me up in the morning.
I know there's some question marks at the top of the heavyweight division. Scott Coker mentioning Fedor and possibly Ryan Bader. Your thoughts on that? Is that something you'd like to see? And I know you're focused on your opponent, but I'm curious what you think should happen at the very, very top.
I think Linton Vassell's getting the next shot. So that said, Linton's one of my best friends, not just teammates, but like one of my closest friend. Long after fighting has left us both, we're still going to be homies. And that said, I'm going to do everything in my power to help Linton be the most prepared he could possibly be whenever he fights Ryan Bader.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Steve, outside of fighting, obviously I know you're a Steelers fan. I'm not exactly sure why, if you want to expand on that. Welcome to a rebuild, by the way.
I'd really like to see the game, or rather the organization as a whole, kind of become more modern. You know, I think what the Steelers' strength was, whenever, you know, back in the day, back in, like, you know, the 2000s era, what their strength was their commitment to their style and their ethic. But, you know, I really do feel like they do need to, as much as they hold on to that, they do need to modernize a little bit. I'm not a football guy. I never played a down of organized football. I mean, in that sense. But from an outside perspective looking in, I do feel like there needs to be some maturation, some modernization going on there.
If it makes you feel better, here in Chicago, we only care about the Bears if we can relate it to 1985. And we only care about basketball if we can relate it to Michael Jordan and the 90s.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I feel kind of bashful over here talking about the Steelers. They haven't had a great season in 10 years, but I'm like, man, what am I talking about? Fucking the Bears.
Yeah, compared to the Bears. No, you guys are Super Bowl champions compared to us.
You've been resting on Mike Ditka's laurels for the last 40 years.
Yeah, literally. Every time when you watch a game in the city of Chicago, it's back in my day. And it's not just like, it's not the expression. It's literally the first line they say is back in my day. But
we have the Pens here not here, but we have the Pens in Pittsburgh. And obviously the Pens are like one of the modern dynasties of hockey.
Yeah.
But that's every time we line up against the Blackhawks, I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah,
Today
no, it
might be
was a
the
fun
day.
ride, but they're another team on a full rebuild. Chicago doesn't have great sports here. Luckily for me, I focus on fighters and fighting. And with that said, you've always talked about, or you've continued to talk about a special performance against Valentin Moldavsky. I don't need a game plan from you. I don't need a scouting report from you. But overall, I know you've credited him a little bit already, but what do you make of him as an opponent? And what do you think are the biggest challenges he presents to you in a fight?
Yeah, he's very dynamic. He's very tough. He's got a great gas tank. The combat sambo guys, like they're decently well rounded, but obviously they lean a little bit more on like their grappling. But that said, every fight presents something new and different. I'm expecting him to come as mean and as gritty and as tough as he ever has, but I'm still expecting to shut him down.
I love it. And I know you said, obviously your teammate, Linton Vassell, likely getting that next title shot. But for you, is this a fight where you feel like you need to go out and make a statement and that's something specific you're focusing on? Or are you just going to let the fight play out as you want it to, and you're just going to go in and do your thing?
I'm just going to go out there and do my thing. I'm not focused on what anybody thinks, anybody says, anybody wants. I already think and want and expect a lot from myself. And if I could live up to my own expectations just one time, I like maybe that would be the day that I hang it up. But I have yet to do it yet. But that said, I really feel like this is going to be the best performance you've ever seen out of Steve Mowry.
Well, we definitely don't want to think about the end of your career anytime soon. But I do have to ask how you kind of keep this all together, right? Because anyone with your success would be looking 5 fights down the road, 2 years down the road, all the money in the world, gold around the house, gold around the waist, to have such a laser focus and just the right mindset overall as a fighter and as a man. Like, how do you not get caught up in what this sport and this game can do to so many fighters?
Dog, I felt like the last 5 years I've had my foot on the gas pedal all the way to the floor on my life. And I feel like I'm just driving at 100 miles an hour trying to keep everything together. And it hasn't been a solo effort. I've had the right people around me really my whole life, but basically my whole MMA career. I've always had the right people around me to keep me sane, keep me straight, keep me on the straight and narrow, make sure I'm doing the right things at the right time. And, I've been really blessed that it's they've all done a good job so far. So that said, it's just been the perfect mix of me putting in the right work and the right effort, and then the right people being around me at the right times to help me out.
Well, you have an incredible team of obviously teammates and fellow fighters, as well as coaches behind you. You have an incredible skill set and talent that you bring inside the Bellator cage every single time. You'll do that again at Bellator 284 against Valentin Moldavsky on August 12th. Those who want to watch, get Showtime if you do not already. Steve, thank you for your time. And before I let you, I will tell you, I hope we could talk again soon. I know this is our first time talking, and the next time we talk, I'll wear a Steelers shirt. I'll wear a Steelers hat. I'll do something for you.
I want the Steelers jersey. I want the Pittsburgh Pirates hat. I want the Penguins whatever the Penguins jersey on top. I want all of it.
All right. Well, listen, I'll work on some of it. I'll get something set for you.
You got to be wearing the Penguins scarf. You got to be rocking it all.
I'll get something for you, but I really do appreciate your time, and I really enjoyed the conversation. It's very nice to meet a guy who's not caught up in ego, who's not focused 5 years down the line, and really just is focused, laser set on what's in front of him. So all the best, and hope we could talk after your performance at Bellator 284.
Absolutely. I would like that a lot, Mike. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.